The cold and arrogant millionaire never believed in love until the cleaner at his company saved his life and made his heart change. The shrill sound of the fire alarm echoed through the corridors of Vertex Enterprises, sending waves of panic through the 52 floors of the glass and steel skyscraper. Employees ran in all directions, their voices blending into a chaotic chorus of shouts and confused orders. On the 50th floor, Alexander Reeves remained motionless in his office, his eyes fixed on his computer screen, seemingly oblivious to the chaos unfolding around him. "Mr. Reeves? Mr. Reeves!" The shrill voice of his executive assistant was barely audible over the alarm. "We need to evacuate immediately." Alexander looked up, his face a mask of irritation. "Don't be ridiculous, Patricia. It's obviously a false alarm." "But sir, the smoke." "I said it's a false alarm," he cut in, his voice sharp as a razor. "Now get out and let me finish this report in peace." Patricia hesitated for a moment, her eyes wide with fear, before finally giving in and running for the emergency stairs. Alexander turned his attention to the screen, his fingers flying over the keyboard as he finalized the financial projections for the next quarter. At 35, Alexander Reeves was the youngest CEO in the history of Vertex Enterprises. His dark brown hair, always impeccably combed, and his piercing blue eyes matched his imposing presence. Dressed in a tailored Armani suit, he was the embodiment of American corporate success. But behind the facade of wealth and power, there was a cold and lonely man who saw the world exclusively through the lens of profit and efficiency. As the building emptied, Alexander remained in his sanctuary at the top of Chicago's corporate world. It was only when the acrid smell of smoke began to invade his office that he finally realized the gravity of the situation. He stood up abruptly, but it was too late. A thick curtain of smoke blocked the exit, and the intense heat of the flames could already be felt through the walls. For the first time in years, Alexander Reeves felt fear, real, pure, paralyzing fear. He ran to the window, looking down at the city 50 floors below. Fire sirens echoed in the streets, and a crowd of onlookers was already forming, pointing at the burning building. It was then that he saw her. A lone figure emerged from the service elevator, wearing the simple uniform of the cleaning crew. She looked around, clearly searching for any straggling survivors. "Over here!" Alexander shouted, his voice hoarse from the smoke. "I'm stuck here!" The woman turned in the direction of the voice, her eyes widening at the sight of the CEO trapped in his own office. Without hesitation, she ran towards him, deftly navigating her way through the increasingly dense smoke. "Mr. Reeves!" she called out, coughing. "I'm Olivia from the cleaning team. I've come for you." Alexander stared at her in disbelief. He barely noticed the cleaning staff on a normal day, and here was this woman, risking her life to save him. "This way!" Olivia shouted, holding out her hand to him. "I know an emergency exit that few people know about. It's our only chance." Hesitating, Alexander took her hand. Olivia's skin was rough and calloused, scarred by years of hard work, a stark contrast to his own soft, manicured hands. At that moment, however, this hand represented his only hope of survival. Olivia guided him through the maze of smoky corridors, her determination unwavering even in the face of mounting danger. Alexander found himself blindly trusting this woman who, until a few minutes ago, he would have considered completely insignificant. After what seemed like an eternity, they finally reached a small metal door, hidden behind a panel in the wall. Olivia opened it, revealing a narrow, dimly lit maintenance staircase. "Come on, Mr. Reeves," she said, pushing him gently. "This staircase leads directly to the basement. We can get out through the garage." They went down the steps as fast as they could, the air getting cleaner as they moved away from the burning upper floors. Alexander felt his lungs burning, his throat dry and irritated. But Olivia's firm hand on his arm kept him moving. Finally, after what seemed like an endless descent, they emerged into the underground garage. The distant sound of sirens was louder now, and they could hear the voices of the firemen coordinating the rescue efforts. "We made it," Olivia said, a tired but triumphant smile on her soot-covered face. Alexander stared at her, a storm of conflicting emotions raging in his chest. Gratitude, confusion, shame, all mixed together in a maelstrom he could barely comprehend. "Why?" he finally managed to ask. "Why did you come back from me?" Olivia looked him in the eye, her expression serious. "Because every life matters, Mr. Reeves, including yours." Before Alexander could answer, they were surrounded by paramedics and firefighters. The scene that followed was a blur of sirens, flashing lights, and worried voices. Alexander was taken to an ambulance, an oxygen mask placed over his face while paramedics checked his vital signs. Through the confusion, he looked for Olivia, but she had disappeared into the crowd. A strange, uncomfortable feeling settled in his chest, something he hadn't felt for a long time. Guilt? Regret? He wasn't sure. As the ambulance pulled away from the burning building, Alexander Reeves stared out of the window, his mind a whirlwind of thoughts. The empire he had built with such care and dedication had almost become his tomb, and he owed his life to a woman whose name he hadn't even known until a few hours ago. The sound of sirens mixed with the noise of the city, creating a chaotic symphony that seemed to echo the turmoil in his mind.